called into question. They talk of the Holocaust swindle. And they say that today's situation is far worse than the Third Reich. Work camps in Mexico were much, much more awful than the concentration camps ever were in Germany. The group practices hidden anti-Semitism. Often Jews are meant when they talk about Brits. Germany is placed above everything. The Deutschmark was fantastic, should be reintroduced. The national state is a non plus ultra. Any supranational organizations should be refuted. The European Union, for example, is termed a dictatorship. LaRouche and Co. have a suspicious affinity with authoritarian regimes. The human rights situation in China, in Russia, in Sudan isn't talked about anywhere. In their political projection, the so-called humanists, i.e. themselves, are supposed to be the ones driving society. It became clear to us through this fruitless discussion and also working through the internet that this was not a normal political organization or party. It became clear to us that we were dealing with a political sect. It's headed by LaRouche. You know all this. For the members, the words of LaRouche are law. He calls himself economist. There are physicists, psychologists as well. He prides himself on recognizing the genius. He's meant to be a millionaire. He has a rather complicated lifestyle, even though he doesn't tax his income to a large degree in the United States. Whenever anybody opposes them, they show their qualities as preachers of hatred. The full-time organizers who are brought together in the LYM live together in one room, usually in flats that are rented for cheap money in large cities such as Berlin, Dresden, Essen. They have understood to create a flair which makes it feel like an international youth hostel movement. According to the report of 2005, the Büso has around 1,600 members. As far as we know, the LYM in Germany has about 80 members. That's roughly a sort of medium enterprise. There are sections in France, in Sweden, Denmark and Mexico and Argentina and the United States where their organizational focal point must be. Members are tasked with cult jobs day in, day out. Members read the so-called briefings daily that arrive from the United States. Some days they sing in the choir. Bach's Jesu meine Zuversicht is kind of an unofficial hymn and has been for years. Members man stalls in public places and sell newspapers. They also do telephone terror, if you like, trying to gain members. They write and send out reports on their actions. They study, in inverted commas, issues and work on them. They look at geometrical tasks. The doubling of the square is a geometrical task that they are trying to resolve. This is represented as something like real education. Flats are being refurbished, others are being dissolved. Occasionally, it is possible to take part in cadre training events, conferences, etc. An LYM member is always in touch with his guru. Our son, when entering the organization, broke off contact to all of his friends and even to his girlfriends. To begin with, he didn't want anything to do with his family. By now, we at least managed to keep in touch during special family events. One condition of this right to contact was that we should not go public or should not talk to journalists. And this is why we're not able to be present here in person today. Like any other cults with dubious aims and methods, LaRouche shy away from the light, from the public light. Members are put into a state of belief and dependency. We would never have thought it possible in the case of our son. a member on the job comes across like a robot who just repeats sentences that are already prescribed. When we heard of the case of Jeremiah Dagen, we were shocked and we were very afraid in case parallels should develop with our case. The public prosecutors in Wiesbaden did not manage to take a closer look at this cult that he tried to evade. We want to know where the money comes from for operating the LaRouche network and what strategic aims are linked to it. We want to know what recruiting methods the sect is using, how it's managing to turn around the attitude of adolescents in a relatively short spaces of time. The case of Jeremiah Dagen needs to be reinvestigated before the court. We want to know whether the cult leadership pays social security for its members of staff. We want to make sure that the officials are critical when it comes to dealing with the organization. And here you should clap. Any support needs to be stopped. Any support, financial support given to a group which pulls students away from university needs to be stopped. We want to sensitize the public to take a much more critical look. We know that the civic rights movement Solidarity just appears to be a political party in order to receive the party privilege. We call upon the critical public, in particular journalists, to find out what the forces and interests are that are behind this organization.